Hello and welcome to the Powerfish Podcast. I'm Fish.
And I'm Ben. Today we talked about Marvel movies and if any movie past the release of Endgame is even relevant anymore. We also talked about if you should have a mental health day at work and politics. Let's get into it. So I saw this package that was going to a house the other day.
Yeah.
And if you recall, there was this woman at a trailer from a previous episode that I had told a story of how she had some colorful language and about politics and stuff. And the day after that, this happened. The day after I told you, not the day after I experienced it. There was this, it was an old, like, boondocks country folk way out in the 3-mile driveway lands.
Yeah.
And I get the package. I walk up to the front door, set it down, take a picture of it, and start walking away. And from behind me, I hear, "What the f-?" Walking towards the door, and I kind of turn around, and I didn't see anything. And then I just keep walking, and I hear it again. "What the fuck?" And then I hear the door open behind me, and then I turn around, and there's this like 10-year-old kid that is just swearing up a storm that opened the door behind me, and I was shocked. I was like, "What the heck?" And I said, "Oh, hey." And then he looked at me, looked at the package, and he said, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Yeah, you have a good one, bro." And he just took it and walked back in. I didn't notice any like adults there. There was cars in the driveway and stuff, but
Jesus.
Dude, this kid maybe had like, I don't know, is that a Tourette's thing?
I mean, it can be, yeah.
If you're so disposed, maybe he had something like that. That was bizarre to hear a kid just go off. When do you think the earliest age of swearing should be allowed if you had kids?
I mean,
dude, quick side note. Remember when we were stuck at the Taco John's and your mother came to eat Taco John's with us?
Oh my goodness.
I threw you under the bus,
dude,
and said you had a potty mouth.
Yeah.
And your mom was like, "What? My 20-year-old son says bad words?"
Yeah, no, and you're a little bitch for it too, because I come from like this Christian household, right? And I never said anything like that around my mother, because I was just like, oh, I say whatever I want in private, but I'm not gonna try to be doing all that. And yeah, and you just walk, but my mother has a potty mouth, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so she was swearing up a storm just about anything and nothing. And then she goes to you and she says, "Excuse my language. That's just how I talk." And then you're just like, "Oh, Fish says all that kind of shit all the time. You can't say nothing worse than he said."
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah,
dude, come on. Your mother is a potty mouth, but gets upset if you are. Come on. That's so stupid. Of course, I said that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. No, she was.
And the thing is, I wasn't even like intending. I wasn't even gonna like. My thought process wasn't, I'm gonna grab this guy and shove him under a moving bus. That was not my thought process when I said that. I was just kind of like the next response of this conversation. Like it was mindless.
You know what's funny? The funny thing about that is that my brother's brought up that situation several times since then, because I remember. This happened even recently, and this situation that you're talking about was years ago, literal years ago.
This was years ago,
and my mother, within the last probably 6 months, has like, we've been talking to somebody else, and then she was just like, I have really good kids, and my kids are really good, and they're well behaved. Well, that, except for that one time that I found out that my son has a potty mouth. She literally said that within the last 6 months.
That's crazy
Yeah.
that she has not let that down.
Yeah, and my response now is just, sorry, I guess I'm not going to stop speaking. So,
Which, I mean, if your mother didn't, then like, yeah, I would kind of understand it. And I probably wouldn't have said that, to be honest. But
Yeah.
the fact that your mother just lets it rip all the time,
yeah,
like, what? I didn't think she would think anything of you having a potty mouth.
yeah, I
It's
don't
like
know.
it's like your mom shooting up heroin and saying, "Don't do heroin, kids."
You don't want to end up like
come
me.
on. Yeah.
Exactly. No, yeah, she's still a little. I don't know if offended is the right word. Just a harsh realization, maybe, but whatever.
Well, I mean, I've always said this, that my mother included, your mother doesn't like accept that you aren't 15.
Yeah,
Kind of, yeah. I've said that before, which I think is probably a relatively common thing of mothers, or maybe just
I'm
parents
sure
in general.
the idea of that's my baby until
Right, yeah,
the
yeah,
day
yeah.
you die situation.
Yeah, which has its ups and downs.
Yeah. But aside from that, I mean, I don't plan on having kids, but I'll say this, and I think I don't remember. I think maybe Joe Rogan said this. Some guy said this online, some celebrity type podcaster or something. And I kind of want to say it's Joe Rogan. He said the way he handles that with his kids is there are no bad words. Essentially, there are just words that can hurt people's feelings, or words that maybe aren't appropriate in certain situations, but there are no bad words. So I don't know if I would necessarily teach a kid that words can be bad, more that words can be not helpful in certain situations, or just to know your audience, essentially. I think that's the route I would go. So really, I guess to answer your question, there isn't really a minimum age, just more of a hope that they become decent people and speak in a way that's helpful. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a interesting take. I mean, if it was Rogan, I mean, that guy, I don't like, there's a fuck in every sentence, really.
It was either Rogan or it was somebody he was interviewing. Which could at that point be anybody, but I don't know who it was. But that's what they were saying. They were saying that we taught our kids that there are no bad words, which I kind of agree with that sentiment, with some outliers. I mean, obviously there's some deeply, deeply hurtful things you can say to another person. Which
right. I mean, you should take words with this quote unquote bad words with the same discretion you should take your ability to construct a bad sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like sometimes just don't say that.
Yeah. That's how I
think
feel.
I think it's a decent approach to it. And I don't ever plan to have kids either. But so we're actually the most qualified to be talking about when your kids should be turning into a sailor.
You and I had an interesting conversation. I don't think this was on the podcast, about specifically your potty mouth and how it relates to the public recently. Do you recall this conversation?
My potty mouth is quite unique in public.
It is.
Often with lots of throwouts of gay, and what else is there? It just kind of honestly the things that I typically say, like something up my ass, or
Yeah, like we'll be at a store,
the usual,
and a salesman will walk up, right, and then they're just like, "Hey, can we help you find anything?" And you'll just be like, "Nah, we're just butt fucking over here. It's all good."
oh yeah, I'll say yeah, we're just jerking off over here. Yeah. I'll say stupid stuff like that.
And I think whenever you and I talked about it, you said you feel potentially that it might be best to rein back on that a little bit.
Oh, of course. There's no upside and only downside. Like, I mean, I guess there is upside. Some some individuals could find that pretty funny, and some have, but also some have just been like, "Did I hear him wrong?" type of reactions.
There has been at least
like
one
that.
time, and I know you and I, it's well documented. You and I haven't a hateful bone in our body towards just groups in general. We are not generalized people when it comes to hatred, certainly. Right. But there have been a couple of really funny instances where you and I have been out in public, and a very, very outwardly expressing gay individual has walked up, like let's say it's a salesperson and they're very gay, and they come up and they ask if we need help, and you're like, "Nah, I'm just gay," or something like that. You just throw around. You'll just throw around gay jokes like that around gay people, and then I don't know. There's at least one instance that I remember kind of like you saying that, and I go like, "Oh," and I look at the guy, and the guy's like, "Oh."
What was that one?
I think you
told this to me before.
I think it was in the Micro Center in St. Louis, and there was just a very like not to generalize, but there's no other way about it. The dude was gay, and and I don't remember like I think like you asked him a question, but it wasn't like an obvious answer question, and then before he could answer, he was like, "Oh, I found it. I'm just gay," or something like that. Or something along those. I'm just being gay. And then he had this look on his face, just like, "Are you now?"
What? Yeah. And I mean, I feel like the vast majority of people don't care.
Yeah,
and if they do, true. Then like, maybe I shouldn't really care about their opinion anyway.
There's certainly something to that. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it definitely needs, the anchor needs pulled up into the ship. It needs to quit flying around so far.
Yeah.
I would say in public.
I think within context, totally fine. It's just that out of context moments. Because I think everybody in every friend group says, as they say, out of pocket things. For the shock value or whatever, and then it just becomes part of the conversation, the shock value conversation. But then you take that conversation out in public, and people are devoid of context.
Yeah. So when the dude directs me to the graphics cards, and I say, "Oh, great, let's suck a dick." I'm sure he's like, "What the fuck are you saying?" Yeah.
Is that all it takes for you, huh? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I maybe it's because I'm homeschooled or something. I don't know. I didn't used to be like that. I used to be what people think of when they think homeschooler. Like, kind of timid and shaky with my voice when I have a conversation with somebody I don't know.
Yeah.
Just shy in general.
That's fair.
But I grew out of it because I'm an adult.
Yeah. Although there are a lot of adults that are like that.
Yes, an ever increasing amount, I would say, due to honestly COVID setting it afoot.
Yeah.
People staying home
But we've had a whole episode about that topic. We'll go find it. I have absolutely no idea which episode that was. We had that episode. Yeah, we had that episode. The launching off point of that conversation was when I sprained my ankle, and my mother in the walk-in clinic. If you recall,
right?
My mother demanding that I go to a walk-in clinic and trying to go with me, and then that was a launching point for overly pampered people being stunted or something like that.
Socially, yeah,
yeah,
not wanting social anxiety being effectively brought on when it wasn't there to begin with.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. It's funny that you bring up deliveries, just in people doing weird things around deliveries. It just reminded me of, I didn't have many like hilarious stories, from my package delivering days. I did have one though that happened towards the end, and I was in Fort Madison, and the street that I was on. So I had. I just kind of paint this picture. So it's a grid system in the town, but there's this one street that pops up and then goes to a dead end, and it's like way far down there. And
Mark Hilltop, baby.
I think that was the one. I think it was either no, I think it was Avenue C actually. Ends in like a dead end further back. It's not so far back, but it is back there. So what had happened was I meant to go up one more block and take that right, but I had missed it and then took the right to another package that I had down there. So I delivered the package and I thought, well, why take the truck and go all the way back around to the main road, down the street and up like 3 blocks and over just to get this one package when I'm literally like within 100 feet of it. I just got to walk through the grass. I got to walk it up there. It was a little package. Right. Ain't nothing bad about that. So I get out and I'm all healed up by this time. So that's fine. But I had to walk up this big old hill with this package. It wasn't very far, but it was steep. So I walk up this hill, set it, get back to the truck, and I'm about to go. Lo and behold, got a little knock on the door. I do. Get a little knock on the door to the truck. And I'm like, the fuck? So I open the door and, or no. No, he, no, so it wasn't the door. He was tapping on the window. That's what it was. He was tapping on the window. So I go over there and I crank down the window and he's just like, hey, I want to say something to you. I was like, okay. I was like,
how about it?
And he tried to like kind of like gesture to come up into the truck, and I was just like, no, you can out there, you can say something out there. Your voice, I can hear you. It's all good. And he was just like, hey, I live in that house right there, the one right in front of the one that I had just delivered to, the one that I walked past. He was just like, hey, did you just walk back? You just walk back over there? I was like, I did.
Yeah.
I was like, there was a set of stairs. It was like half stairs and then grass the rest of the way. I was like, yeah, there's a set of stairs there. I just walked up there because I missed the road I was going to go on. He was just like, oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure that you were back there. I was like, okay. I swear to God, like
he
this.
Thought you would have were.
So this is the way this dude talked. I'm not exaggerating this. He wouldn't finish a thought. He would like say something and leave it ambiguous, and then I would have to like confirm with that I understand with him. So he was like, I just want to make sure you were back there. I was like, yeah, that was me. And he said, okay. He said, I just wanted to say, I just wanted to check with you because my wife was naked in the kitchen. I was like, oh. She was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, you just walk right past that window. I was like, well, I can assure you, sir, I saw nothing of any sort. And he was just like, all right. I just wanted to
this is their backyard?
So
I was going to say, if your wife is naked in the kitchen with the windows open towards the world.
No, okay. So
like if this is their backyard, I could kind of understand.
So there's the house and then there's a house behind it, right? And then I'm behind all of it. And I walk on the side of both houses because there's nothing over here. It's just openness. And I walk on the side of both houses up the hill to the front house and then back down. Essentially. So I walk on the side of their house, but there was nothing on the other side. It was just open fields. So I walk on the side to get there. And he's just like, yeah, my wife was naked in the kitchen. And she said she saw somebody out there. And I just wanted to check if that was you. And I said, yes, but.
Okay.
Yeah. And I said, is that all? And he said, yep, you have a great day. And I said, you too. And I left. That was the whole story.
That's bizarre. I mean,
it was bizarre.
I mean, I can't really fault the guy, to be honest. Maybe he could have been a little less, I don't know, odd. But
yeah. I mean, yeah, it was whatever. It was just, what was odd to me was not that he came up and just like clarified that maybe he just to check that I didn't see something. I don't know why it would matter if I did at the end of the day, because what am I gonna do? But just
look at some boobs.
Yeah, sorry I saw some boobs. You could keep them though, I promise. But no, like just the way he spoke was so cryptic. It was so like he wanted to.
Some people speak in a way that they're just trying to start something or trying to get you to start something.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if
Some
he
people
was.
just talk like that, and I don't really know if it's intentional or not. I just know that some people do talk like that.
I kind of wonder if he was like trying to get me to say that I saw her naked or something like that without him having to say it. Because it's an awkward situation. I don't know.
It is, yeah. I mean, I guess in his defense, like, he ain't gonna just knock on your window and say, "Hey, did you see some naked tits through the thing?"
Honestly, that'd be more startling than anything.
Yeah, right. That's a little bizarre of a way to start. So, like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
seems like a normal dude mostly.
Yeah.
His wife afraid somebody's in the
Somebody's lurking around the fields outside trying to catch something. Yeah.
looking for some naked wife tits.
But no, that's my
Yeah, that's
story
pretty
there.
funny.
It was a pretty good day.
There was another story from James, mutual friend that also works there. He this is probably the wackiest one that I've heard yet. He had a package, signature required package. Goes up to the doorway, knocks, opens. The door is just a topless chick.
Goodness.
Yeah, just like straight up. And he said she looked like she was a young, like maybe early 20s, late teens.
Yeah.
So like that's very bizarre. And she just opened it and started laughing her ass off, and got something on, I believe, and then came and signed for the. That's a wacky one.
Like she just opened the door and was like, "Dearie me, I've forgotten my anything," and then.
I've forgotten my anything. That mean maybe I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know. That one was that's a bizarre one.
Yeah, that's
I've never had anything. I've only been delivering for about a year, but ain't nothing of. I've never seen anything that I shouldn't have through a window. Like that's, or in any situation. Like,
yeah,
I've had a very unexciting. If that's the for want of a better word,
yeah.
a very unexciting, time.
Well, I almost had that, but did not because I wasn't looking.
There's been definitely some upset people.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
people get upset over. I mean, anything. I mean, people will try and find
people in their mail, man.
About.
People get rowdy about their mail, especially their packages.
Yeah, it's really.
I mean, I get it. You order something, you want it, and if it's delayed or like, there have been times where like honestly, when I was getting my my phone, I ordered in my S23 Ultra at launch. That day, I was like, bro, I want to get my hands on all over this, and I was waiting around because I think I had to work that evening, and I was like, bro, if I gotta like wait till after work to get into this thing, I'm gonna be upset. I mean, so there's like been situations like that where I can.
You're really anticipating something.
I'm really anticipating something, and then the driver that day just is taking their time. I'm sure to no fault of their own, but it's just as a person in that situation, you just can't help but be like, God damn it, just show up. God damn it.
Right. Yeah. Which I get. I'm lucky enough to live in a place where, well, first of all, I know who delivers to my house, and I can just get the package from the station.
Yeah.
But I also am like really early on in his route. So I know just basically within an hour after we dispatch, my package is going to be at the door. So,
yeah. It was not that way for me at my parents' house. I swear to God, they were at the end of the route because they live out of town, like basically almost. They live like, it's on the outskirts of town. Nothing's going on out there. And I swear to God, I think whoever delivers packages out there, and in all fairness, if I'm being honest, but they probably go there last. It's real late in the day. So that always sucked whenever I lived there. But now it's very early in the day for us now.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you a question. Well, not so much a question, but just bring in some further input on this whole free will thing that we had. couple episodes back.
That was a great discussion. If you haven't checked out that video, go check it out.
It was actually a full episode on philosophical questions that we
Mm-hmm.
tried to answer. And we spent about 20 minutes on just if free will exists alone. And so there was a perspective that I learned on it from, I think, Robert Sapolsky. He's a neurosurgeon, I think, or it might be like a neurobiologist. I don't know if he's a surgeon, but he's a brain guy.
Yeah.
And he does not believe in free will. And one of the things that he's learned, he wrote a book called Determined. And what's crazy is when you make a decision, if there's a decision-making process going on, which is basically a constant in life at every moment, the decision... So through brain scans, you can see when people are thinking.
Right.
You can't see what they're thinking, but when someone's thinking, we know what's happening. And we can see at what part of their brain they're thinking with, where the activity is coming from, because it's just electrical current. It's neurons. It's something we can measure. When someone has to make a decision, the thinking part, the decision-making part is happening. It has happened and continues to happen long before you are even conscious of the decision that has just been presented to you, by about 200 to 300 milliseconds. So if you're faced with ice cream and a brownie, and you are told you can have one but not the other, but you get to pick, as soon as you know that, as soon as the words hit your ear, your brain already is making a decision before it even becomes conscious, before it becomes a thought.
Okay.
So the decision-making process is not something that's conscious. It just becomes so. So like another way why he doesn't think free will is a thing at all is because brainwaves can be measured all the way from beginning to end of the decision. And so let's say you're hungry. So there's inputs, there's the processing of it, and then there's like the awareness of what you've done post decision. So like the inputs are like you're hungry, so that's an internal state. There's a visual appeal, like say there's a burger on the that's external stimulus. So you got internal stimulus, you're hungry, external stimulus, you see food, and memory stimulus, memories of past foods, experiences up to that point. So those are your inputs of all the decision. Brain scans can literally see your brain processing inputs. And then there's the processing part. It's your brain has all the input information, and then it starts to process. So like you see burger in front of you, your brain computes, I see burger is satisfying based on previous dopamine from burger in the past. And your brain thinks of like, but apple is healthier. So your brain clashes those two brainwaves, those two neurons, and it processes them. And then an outcome is made. A decision has been made. And then you are conscious of it from brain scans. Now, the decision making process can happen through you being conscious of it as well. Like, it's not determined before you're conscious of it. That can happen for if you're putting your jacket on and you don't know whether to put your left arm or your right arm through it first. That's something, all those processes that just went through your brain, that's the decision being made without it becoming a conscious process.
Right.
That also happens with decisions that become conscious. And through all the inputs of the different stimulus, internal state, external factors, previous experience to the processing of all the inputs that clash and which outweighs the other, which decision outweighs the other. All of these processes are measurable in the brain. All of them. And at no point is there a process of free will to fit in. There's no point where these measured processes aren't happening for a free will brainwave to get in. So there's no room for it, kind of. If that makes sense.
Right, because all those points.
Your brain's, yeah. And and like I said, a lot of that, and in some cases, if it's like just a mundane decision that you make, it's happening entirely without thought.
Right.
And a lot of it happens entirely without thought, even with more tough decisions. It just, the brainwaves are fighting for longer and weighing in more as more inputs are coming through. So that's why Robert Sapolsky thinks that there is no free will.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not smart enough to dispute that. I think that that's probably accurate. I guess my question would be, what do you do with that information? What's to be done with that information?
Well, this is the thing. We've talked about this before. This whole free will debate. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe we don't, and we are operating the same way that lower level animals do, just based on everything about our lives and our genetics, except 10 million times more complicated.
Right.
Or maybe we do have free will. Maybe the fact that we can be conscious of something maybe can alter something in that chain. Maybe.
Right.
But either way, is this even a helpful discussion?
Well, because either way you cut it, it doesn't matter if it's free will or determinism. It's going to be, everything's going to feel like free will.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to feel like you're making a decision.
Some people, I would say the most common argument this isn't really an argument, but the most common rebuttal to the no free will argument is, oh, well, you don't act like you don't have it. Which
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, it's kind of a silly.
How do you not act like you don't have free will?
How do you act like you don't have? What would I be acting like if I did have free will, or if I didn't have free will? It would be the same either way.
Yeah,
I think, because we already feel like we do, and we might not.
Yeah, one thing I've heard people say about all this whole thing is that even people that agree, you wouldn't want this to be a way to make an excuse, right? Because clearly, you whether or not it's because you're making decisions because of a conscious decision, or you are relying on your brain to make these connections or whatever, clearly your actions are guided in some way, whether that be from a conscious thought or from past experiences or your brain connections or whatever. But you wouldn't want to say like, well, everything's predetermined, so I am absolved of all of my sins or
Right.
the
Yeah.
crimes I've committed. That is the trouble with that, is because I feel like you'd run into, it was always going to be that way. How could you fault me? But I just don't think that that's helpful.
Right. And I think the feeling of not having any control is, I mean, I don't really care, but some people I think would really think into that too much and start to be kind of depressing
Yeah.
if they are convinced of the free will not existing. So like, maybe it's true, but I don't think anyone disagrees that maybe it's more helpful to just assume it isn't, or just go through life as if it isn't, as if it isn't true, as if we do have free will.
Yeah. Because I mean, functionally, that's what's happening, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
obviously, you're
functionally,
you're
yeah.
you're moving through your life and you're making decisions, but whether or not those are decisions that were predetermined because of all of these things, in the moment, it's always going to feel like a at the moment
Right.
decision.
And that's another thing they measured is the brain is incredible at post hoc rationalization. So like, if you made a decision, your brain is incredibly good at giving you a reason why you made that decision.
Right.
Even if it's, so yeah, the post rationalization of it is, I mean, you're always going to think of a reason why you made that decision after you make a decision. So like, that's what they call the illusion of free will, is things seem, well, it is. Everybody seems like we're making decisions based on our own free will. Even though I would say the evidence for free will is sort of something like the evidence for consciousness, in which there is none, but it's not 100% if it's actually, I mean, we know it's a thing, consciousness. Free will, we might not necessarily know it's a thing, but there is no evidence for it. But I don't know, you're kind of balancing. Everyone wants to think that there is. And maybe it's just a religious thing. Maybe it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of parts of human culture that are standardized because of religion.
Right.
Maybe free will is just one of those, and that's why we all assume that we have it, because we've just for hundreds of years grown up being told that we do.
Well, and it's and to talk about this rationalism that your brain goes through, you feel as though you're making decisions. So why would you question it?
Right.
At least historically.
Exactly. Right. I don't think anyone does. And like I said, I really don't think it's helpful to live life as if you don't have free will. In fact, I think it's impossible to do that. As we've learned, potentially it's impossible to live life with true free will, but I don't really think it's possible for us to live life without the feeling of us making decisions.
Well, it's like what you just said with the well, you don't act like you don't have free will. What does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we don't act like we have free will. Everyone acts like they do have free will, even though we might not.
Yeah.
Because the brain is just so so complex that it's giving the illusion of free will.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I didn't have free will to do. This is a really, really rough segue I'm about to take you through. I didn't have the free will to not go to a date night tonight with my girlfriend. And guess what we did?
Watched a movie.
We watched a movie. We also got some pizza. Guess where?
What pizza? Oh, I know where.
Yeah. So if y'all don't know, which you probably wouldn't because it's a local restaurant, but we I don't know. It's more just you don't get this awesome pizza. We got a pizza place around here. It's actually just an Italian restaurant that also does pizza. The best pizza I've ever had personally.
Yep, me too.
Yep. I'm just saying, like, granted, I haven't been around the world, but
Me neither.
But
specifically, like Italy.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, is actual pizza even anything like the pizza what we make in America?
I mean, if we're talking like, Papa John's, no, clearly not.
Yeah.
Little Cheezers, nah, that's no way. But this pizza, I could see it. I don't know. I'm sure it's probably been Americanized as well. So what it is, I mean, it's a pizza place, but it's got this like really like cracker thin, almost thin crust, and just some of the best toppings you can get on a pizza. And they have so many different, I mean, you could probably customize pizza however you want it if you asked them, but they have all these like pre-made pizzas that they got on there. Dude, we didn't find one we didn't like. I don't think.
There were some strange ones, like the pasta one, the Alfredo. That was a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad.
No.
It was just odd. There were some things that aren't palatable. There was even one with like, I think I had like Kalamata olives on it or something. And like other stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that one was even pretty good. I got the smoking Cajun again. I tend to get that. I tend to get that one all the time.
That's that one and the frick.
And the frick, yeah. That's the pizza.
We should probably mention what this place is. It's frick it's Brick Oven in Hannibal, Missouri. Dude. Yeah, best pizza place.
Yeah. We call it affectionately referred to as the Frick Oven.
Yeah, Frick Oven. And there is a pizza that they have called the Brick. So naturally, it's the Frick. Yeah, and it's good.
It's pretty really freaking good. But yeah, we had that. We also had some calamari, which I think I introduced you to that there. That's the squid. Fried squid.
Yeah, I think you did.
We had some of that. That stuff's pretty good. But after that, we went to the movie theater just down the street, and we saw Wicked, the musical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Seen ads for that.
Have you ever seen The Wizard of Oz?
Of course, yeah.
You've seen The Wizard of Oz. So yeah, this is. I don't know if I'm sure you haven't seen the musical, Wicked, but and I hadn't either. But yeah, it's the kind of a prequel to The Wizard of Oz about Galinda and the evil witch. God, what's her name?
Wicked Witch of the.
Yeah. Well, no, she's got a name. F
Green.
Yeah. You know what it is. But anyway, it was really good. But one thing that they did, and I knew this was going to happen, and I wanted your opinion on this. I know you don't watch a lot of movies, but it's just something that it made me think about again. They're doing the sympathetic villain arc thing again. If you're familiar with what I'm talking about.
So like what they did with Thanos.
Kind of, yeah.
Because they try to make you sympathize with the villain's motives and stuff. I
feel like that's a trope that's been very popular recently.
Well, I think it's because I can't say, I don't know when it started. I'm sure movies have done it before this, but
right.
At least the first one that I saw it in was with Thanos and his story, and the Avengers movies did a really good job of kind of making you not so sure of his, like it wasn't the obvious good guy versus bad guy that 99% of movies before that have done. And I think it worked so well. I think it's just been, well, like I said, I'm sure movies before Infinity War have done this. I just don't watch movies,
Right.
and that's the first one I saw with that kind of villain that's not quite so villainous.
Yeah, they did that with. I mean, that's kind of the whole arc of Joker, the movie Joker. Obviously, they just had a second one out now. As of the last couple a couple
I've
weeks
seen
ago.
the first one, but not the second.
Yeah, that was kind of a similar situation where they were trying to make him, I don't know, not relatable necessarily, but
Make you feel bad for him.
make you feel bad for him.
Not just hate him because bad guy.
Yeah. But
I think in the first movie they did a great job of doing that. I really enjoyed the first movie.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the second one. I've heard mixed reviews of the second one. It's also a musical, as I've heard.
The Joker?
The second Joker, yeah, is a musical.
Okay, well, I'm never gonna watch it.
you just musical.
I hate musicals, dude. I just don't.
Well,
every time somebody breaks out in song in the middle of a movie, it just rips me out of the freaking movie. I'm just like, why did this crap start again? I just get back to the movie. I hate it. I really hate it. I just can't stand musicals.
Bro, this guy hates musicals out here. This guy hates music. No, I get it. I get it. But I don't know. Wicked was pretty good. It was pretty good. It's actually, I guess it's going to be a two-parter, or at least a more than one-parter. This was Wicked, apparently part 1.
Oh, man.
Which is insane to me, because do you know the runtime of this motherfucker?
What?
This is why we almost didn't record tonight, because of the runtime of this movie. It is 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Holy cow! Almost a 3-hour long movie.
Yeah, and that's just one part. Oh, it's insane. It was insane. It was good though. It was good. I genuinely enjoyed it. I rolled my eyes at a couple points, probably because of the music. But if I'm being honest, I don't mind musicals, but I do kind of feel a similar way. It kind of takes me out of the immersion.
I am not watching a movie to listen to music. That is not why I'm there. If I want to listen to music, I will do that.
I do have a rebuttal to that. I watch Shrek for the music. That's got a great soundtrack.
Okay, there's exceptions. Yeah. Somebody was doing the wind. Was gonna rub it. Yep.
Yeah.
Good song. Good song. I would watch Shrek for that. For sure.
I just wanted to gather your opinion on that. The sympathetic villain. I don't know if I was thinking about this on the drive back. Is it overdone, or is it just? I don't know. It's one of those things again that kind of makes me roll my eyes at a movie where they're like, "Here's your villain," but actually, are they a good guy? It's like, well, no, they murdered all those people. I don't know.
I mean, I think it could be done poorly if it is done, but like, what's the alternative here? No emotional connection? Is that better ever? Maybe if it's overdone in a single, if it's overemphasized how much it's obviously trying to get you to connect with the villain, maybe just having bad guys shoot, kill, die is better, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
But like, I don't know, if it's done to any reasonable degree, is that ever worse?
I guess I'm being too obtuse about this. Let me just get into just briefly specifics about the movie. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. This is going to be broad strokes anyway, but spoiler alert anyway. So if you recall from The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West is a green lady.
Yeah.
She's a green lady. Most of the movie is about her insecurities with being green.
Okay.
And the bullying that ensues there within. I don't know. I guess I've never been green. But I felt
that's a hard to relate to experience.
Yeah.
I would say.
I mean,
So that's the sympathize with villain tactic.
then there was one other one. And there was one other one. The other one was there is some animal racism going on in Oz.
Animal racism.
Yeah, it was bizarre, this plot
Like
twist.
people being racist against animals, or like animals being racist to other types of animals?
People being racist to animals. This was a bizarre plot point. So, and you would never have guessed it if you watched the original movie. But yeah, so the point of this was, so like they're at this university, right? Shiz is what it's called. It's the Shiz. And
Shiz.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the
Good
Shiz.
name.
And there's a goat that's a history teacher. He's a goat. And then he says he comes into the classroom. He's just like, I have a very important thing to tell all of you. And he says, there's some racism in the world towards the animals. And then the main character lady, the what the fuck is her name? I'm gonna keep talking about her. I should know her name. Hold on. The hell is her freaking name?
Something with a G.
Alphaba.
Alphaba.
Yeah, alphabet. Yeah, alphabet. And no, the lady you're thinking of with the G. That's I just watched this movie like half an hour ago.
It really burned an impression on you.
It's the lady that Ariana Grande plays.
Man, I don't know who the frick. That doesn't help me one bit.
Galinda. That's what her name is. Galinda. That's the good witch, apparently, or a good person. Anyway, so Elphaba is like, no, there's animal racism. That's bad. And then the movie happens, right? And then towards the end of the movie, the goat comes rushing into the classroom. He's like, I don't have much time. And then he says, they're gonna take me away, but don't listen to the wizard. And then they're like, oh, and then the guards come in, and they just grab this goat by the horns and just haul him off. And he's just like, oh, is racism afoot? Yeah. and then Elphaba goes to the Wizard of Oz, who is Jeff Goldblum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you can imagine. And then he's just like, he's like, you're a wizard, Elphaba. And then he was like, I'm a what? And then come to find out that Jeff Goldblum, the Wizard of Oz, is behind all the animal racism.
Why would Jeff Goldblum do that?
That's what I was trying to say.
I know that guy for dinosaurs and stuff.
Yeah, dude, he was all pro dinosaur, and now he's anti.
Now he's anti-goat.
So the whole thing. So not only are they just racist towards animals, what they're trying to do specifically is keep them in captivity so they never learn how to speak.
Okay.
And then so they get Elphaba in the Wizard of Oz room, and she gets this book, this ancient book that nobody can read, and she can read it because she's a wizard or whatever. And then she's just like habada 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 habada, and then all the monkeys get wings, and the movie ends after a fight scene.
So it ends there.
Yeah, all the monkeys get wings. She escapes the guards, sings a little song in the sky. Roll credits.
Oh my god. That's so, I mean, I get that it's probably a good movie, but like it is not for me one bit. Holy cow. Yeah, that just seems ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. I recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it yet. I do recommend it. It was a good use of 3 hours, I'd say. But
yeah, just about 3 hours, which is crazy.
But yeah, that was my recap of the Wicked musical adaptation.
What's the last time a freaking original movie's come out? Like a real blockbuster hit that was an original movie.
You know, I was thinking about that on the way back.
A remake or a remaster or a sequel, prequel.
I was thinking about that because obviously, you know why I was thinking about that actually? You know what preview I saw in the theater that really just made me do a little bit of a think.
Oh,
you know,
A thought provoker, huh?
Yeah. It
Which,
was
yeah,
it
what
was
was it?
it was a live action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, I don't know if that can go well.
Yeah. Made me do a little bit of a
What?
think.
Huh.
Yeah. That was my reaction.
Oh, I don't think that that's going to be. Did anyone ask for that? I
I
don't
don't
think so.
I mean nobody asked for the Minecraft movie either, but here we
Yeah,
are.
but here we are with Jackal Black.
That also played in the theater. You know, Jack Black coming in. I am Steve.
Dude,
And it was so funny to me because this has been so memed on in pop culture. And
yeah, it's been just absolutely dumped all over.
it's been hailed as like one of the worst movie trailers ever. And people in the theater
Ooh,
were
I don't know
like
about that.
dying. What?
I don't know. You remember the original Sonic trailer?
Oh, the
Where
OG
Sonic
OG.
had like a real face with like human teeth.
That was pretty rough. But they changed that.
They changed. Yes, they changed. That's how bad it was. They
Yeah.
changed it before the movie even came out. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That one might take the cake, but this Minecraft one is pretty bad too.
We also saw tonight a preview for Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
I didn't even know there was a second one.
Yep. There was a second one.
I
Now
never
there's
saw
going to
the
be a
first
third
one
one
either.
But yeah, this Minecraft movie, it was because it's been so hated on about how this trailer is not funny, and then everybody in the theater was just dying laughing at every one of these bad jokes, and it just made me wince. They'd go, the Jack Black was like, "I am Steve," and then everybody in the back was like, "Oh,"
Because it's so stupid. I feel like if he said like I am Jack Black, I would have made more like that would have made it all seem self-aware, I guess.
Yeah, he said, "I am Jack Black." Like, who is that? It was like, "I was messing with you. I'm Steve."
Yeah,
See, that would have been funny.
Yeah, but no, it's what kind of a budget you think? Who's making this? It's surely not what is it? Mojang?
Mojang. I think it's. I was gonna say DreamWorks, but that actually kind of sounds not right. Not Minecraft.
Pixar or something.
Pixar would never do this. Pixar is a legitimate movie studio. Don't you put putting hatred on Pixar's name?
What's wrong with Minecraft?
It's Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Is doing it.
Warner Bros. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they don't mind putting out slop. Warner Bros.
Yeah, they'll scoop up some slop and give it on all our plates without having a problem with it.
Pixar is an esteemed, award-winning, great studio, and then Warner Brothers is just like, you want more Garfield? You want a reboot of Scooby Doo? Nobody wants. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, what's the last original movie you saw that was actually like a slam dunk? In terms of like, I know original movies are releasing, every day on Netflix and stuff, but I mean like an actual like high budget, blockbuster original movie.
It's a good question. I feel like they don't come out, or they do come out, I guess, but I feel like they don't get as much recognition as like, I can't even give you an example. Blah 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 6. Blah blah blah. The eighth installment.
Fast and Furious 49 or
exactly.
Yeah, The Expendables 10, stuff like that.
Yeah,
it never does. I mean, I don't know. A Quiet Place, that was pretty huge.
That's pretty huge. I mean, there's been 3 of them now.
Yeah, that's not original anymore. But when the first one came out, that's
when it came out. It's been years. But the last like from the ground up movie that's original that I saw that I remember really like hitting home with me because I thought it was really good was probably Whiplash back in like 2014. I don't know if you know that about that movie at all. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Very brief rundown. It's about a jazz drummer who's played by Miles Teller. I don't know if you know much about that guy. kind of been getting popularity in the last couple of years. He was in Top Gun Maverick. Miles Teller was.
Oh,
He was he was the son of oh my god. What was his freaking face? I don't remember.
was it the son of the guy that Tom Cruise was like partners
Buddies
with or something?
Yeah, he had like a funny name, Goose. Was it Goose?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't like Tom Cruise because he blamed him for his dad dying. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that guy. Yeah, so that's Miles Teller. So it was Miles Teller as a jazz drummer, going to this prestigious jazz school where he gets a chance to play in the like top jazz band at the school, which happened because it's one of the top in the nation. It's one of the top jazz bands in the nation. So it's like a huge deal. The conductor of that band is played by J.K. Simmons, aka on Pictures of Spider-Man. That guy. And which, by the way, J.K. Simmons he's a bit older now, but he got absolutely shredded for that movie.
Really?
Dude, he was shredded. It was pretty. I mean, he wasn't like big. He's not like you know, like that. But he's like thin, like clearly developed on the up here quite a bit. Like for somebody in his probably 60s, like he got in shape for this movie, and he plays this conductor who's just like mentally abuses the Miles Teller's character. And he like throws stuff at him and like just manipulates him into being, the idea being to manipulate him and antagonize him enough to make him the best jazz drummer possible. And it culminates.
I mean, that's a pretty common premise, I think. Like having the instructor that you hate and he's mean and he seems terrible, but his teaching style ends up turning you into the best thing that you can be. Like that's a common.
It's not uncommon, definitely. I've heard it compared to like it's if a musical movie took like a sports approach, like a music but sportsified, because the typical sports movie is like the what was that one? There was a movie where
drill sergeant coach,
that kind of idea, and this was kind of where that was. Incredible performance from J.K. Simmons. It was hilarious because he was just like verbally abusive and just like hurled insults nonstop, and it was hilarious. But yeah, great movie. That was one of the last like original, not even like a book adaptation, just straight up from the ground up movie that I saw that I really liked.
There was a recent movie called Life with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. I think that was a pretty huge hit. I never saw it, but I'm pretty sure that was a pretty huge hit. I mean, they had Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds, so they had to have had at least some monstrous budget.
It was back in 2017.
2017?
Oh. Yeah. So that's been a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, man, seriously? That's been that long ago? Holy cow.
I
thought that was within like the last 3 years.
No, 2017. That would have been 7 years ago.
7 years ago. Dude.
Yeah, we're old as frick, dude.
That movie does not seem that old. Holy cow.
Yeah. Trying to think of more movies like that. Because Whiplash came out in 2014. I'm sure I've seen one since then that I just left the theater or whatever, just being like, you know what? Dang, that was pretty good.
I mean, I really thought that about A Quiet Place. When did that come out? Was that
the first
before
one?
Or after Life? Yeah.
Oh, that's been a minute.
I think it was after 2017, probably 2018.
It's 2018, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So not much after, but
relatively recent. Has anyone given a single damn about a Marvel movie since Infinity War came out? Or Endgame?
I know I haven't seen one.
I know
since then.
I certainly haven't. Yeah.
Yeah. They've got.
I don't know. This might just be the circle that I'm in, but like I feel like the consensus is no one has given a single frick about Marvel.
I mean,
movies.
yeah, no, I mean like their main story's over. That was like
right. It's
they called that phase 1, I think, but like I don't know. It was just such a great conclusion.
Yeah, and the Avengers movies, all four of them, were just like so good, and all the like story building, like even if you just watched Avengers 1, 2, 3, 4, you'd get it, you'd get it,
Yeah.
and it'd be good, and you'd enjoy it. But like, if you watch all of the Marvel characters' individual movies alongside them, like the Iron Mans and the Captain Americas and, you know, the Thors and the Ant-Man, all the build up of story to this, it just makes it so much better.
Right. Also, I'm a big dumb. So actually, that whole arc ended in phase 3. Phase 3 was the ended with Endgame and then Far From Home, which happened basically directly after Endgame. So yeah, that was phase 3.
What was phase 1 and 2?
Phase 1 was Iron
that
Man.
like Ultron with Avengers 2?
Not quite. So it was Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, First Avenger, and then the first Avengers movie. It ended with the first Avengers movie.
Oh, defeating Loki.
Yeah. And then phase 2 started with Iron Man 2, Thor 2, Captain America 2, Guardians 1, Avengers Ultron, and then Ant-Man. And then phase 3 is where we got the rest.
Even during phase 1 and 2, there was still buildup of the Infinity Stones and stuff.
Yeah, it was sprinkled throughout.
Yeah.
And it was, like phase 1 was strictly just assembling the Avengers. Was all it was.
Right, yeah.
And then phase 2, and then maybe some Infinity Stones bullshit with amidst.
It was definitely. It was mostly in end cutscenes and movie ending cutscenes.
That and like the Tesseract and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was, I believe, one of the stones at the end of the day, wasn't it? Or powered a stone, or I don't remember.
Yeah, it's something to do with a stone.
Tesseract was important in some way. Yeah, and then phase 2, you've got kind of just the further development of not only the characters, but in preparation for that story. And then phase 3 is where we get into some big stuff. Phase 3 starts with Civil War.
Holy cow.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
I feel like Captain America Civil War is so deep into the lore already.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you watch from the beginning up to phase 3 through phase 3, that's where the Marvel superhero movies were. That's where the good got good. Those were the good ones. And I haven't given a single crap about Marvel after that. And I know they've released movies and some TV shows and stuff.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like, I'm looking at like phase 4. It's 2021 to 2022. And it's just like, first of all, half of these on here are shows. And then the other half are like the Shang-Chi movie, or like the Eternals movie, or the Moon Knight movie. I don't think anybody
I don't
really
know what
cared.
any of those are. I don't even know what those are.
Or Ms. Marvel,
Ms. Marvel? Okay,
Ms.
yeah, that's the
Marvel.
only one I recognize.
Yeah. I mean, and you've got like Thor, Love and Thunder, and Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. You've got good ones in here, but dude, it's not home runs like even just Captain America Civil War. That movie, like,
dude, Captain America Civil War was so good.
That movie shook me. I was shook.
Captain America and Iron Man beating the daylights out of each other.
Dude,
that was such a cool movie.
That was such a cool movie, and it was one of those movies that you go to, like, I was young, obviously, at the time. So like you'd go to school the next day, and everybody would be like, bruh. And everybody was saying that.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about it.
And people would be like, "What side are you on?" And I'm like, "I'm 13 years old. What do I know? I don't know how to solve the Civil War."
Yeah, those were good movie times. Those are pretty much the only, because I'm not a movie watcher. Those are pretty much the only movies that I like went to theaters and was excited for the next one to come out and stuff like that.
dude, there was nothing like going to the theaters for Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh my god,
dude. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that I'm glad I was alive for.
Me too.
That's one of those things.
There's never in like Infinity War and Endgame, watching those, you've never wanted to hold in your piss so badly in your life,
dude. Yeah, just
watching those movies,
watching the disappearing at the end of
Infinity War,
and everybody's just like, bro, what the fuck? You leave the theater. I remember this vividly because this was like a turning point in my life. This like dude, you're walking out of the theater and you're like, what do I do now? Do I just go back to do I go to school tomorrow? Like, this is huge. Yeah. What does this mean? Dude, and then they don't let up because at the beginning of Endgame, they're just like, all right, the heroes are back. We're gonna kick some ass. We're gonna solve the problem. And then at the beginning of Endgame, they're just like, yeah, 5 years has passed. Everybody's still dead.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was crazy.
Cinematic masterpiece. That's what that was.
Thanos had won for years.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then Ant-Man out of that thing.
Because of a rat. That was one of the main criticisms I saw of the movie was it was just like, well, if a rat just never clicked the button, it just never would have happened.
Right.
Which I guess is true. But
yeah, I would say that's probably the weakest link. That's kind of silly.
Yeah.
But still good movies.
Goes to show they don't make movies like they used to a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah. Yeah, because we're young, dumb, and full.
Yeah. That's what I have to say for sure.
Yeah, we wrote down a question. Ask that question. There was an interesting question that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So
the other day,
if you watched this far, you'd know we've been kind of all over the place as far as topics go. But we actually did have one question pre-planned out, as a matter of fact.
Right. We had something that we did want to get into.
Yeah, we're good at this now. So the question that we wanted to ask to close out this podcast is this right here. Should we have mental health days?
And my immediate reaction to that was no.
Okay.
Because I think that's... I don't know. I think it seems... I understand the argument for physical health. There are days that you can take off. Immediately, I'm jumping into this from a work context.
Yeah, I mean that's the primary context. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from a work context, I get that there are days given to you for physical health reasons, and your mental health is just as important, if not more, than your physical health, because your mental health can literally better or worsen your physical health.
Right.
But my gut reaction is still just no, because everyone has had days where they don't want to go into work. They're stressed. Stuff's been piling up. It would be great to just not.
Right.
But the thing is, I feel like everyone also has just, manned up and done it.
Manned up,
and ended up just fine.
Yeah.
Like, at least in my case, I have. Maybe that's a privileged position, but I don't know.
I think it's a great attitude to be able to say, I am stronger than my base emotions and I can rise above my issues. But I don't think that's true for everyone. And I think it's a tough position to give the ability of employers to just tell you that essentially your mental well-being is not important enough, not as important as the job itself. I don't know.
Which is not true, by the way.
What do you mean? What?
Your mental health is more important than the
Okay.
job that you're probably being called in to do.
I thought you were saying that it's not true that bosses would put profits over your mental well-being. And I was
No,
like,
that is unequivocally true.
yeah. But
Bosses
yeah,
telling you that your mental health is less important to the job at hand. That is not true.
yeah,
It isn't.
right. Here's my immediate reaction to this. I think that something like that could be a very beneficial thing. So at my last job, and you worked at this job too, we had a point system where for unpaid, unexcused time off. And you had somewhere around 30 essentially hours worth of points that you could use in a 6-month period. And this is in addition to your PTO. So it didn't matter. Like, you didn't need a doctor's note. You didn't have to go to the doctor to get approval of that day off. You just used your points and went on with your business. I think that's a better system. Instead of sick days or mental health days or what have you, I think just having a clear structure for unexcused, unplanned time away from work is the most beneficial to the most amount of people.
But something like that is so situational. In our job, yeah, it worked because it was sales and there was generally 3 people scheduled at a time. If something like that existed at my last job as a fleet manager, and I use my points, everyone's screwed and we lose literal actual tens of thousands of dollars because I'm not there to direct freight that costs lots and lots and lots of money. So like that straight up is with a job like that, you show up. You need to, because not only are you completely screwing the people around you, but you're just destroying money. Granted, I get it's the company's money. Like, you shouldn't really. It depends on the company. If it's a billion, like if it's a freaking corporate public, honestly, who gives a crap if it's some super conglomerate company?
Yeah, they're not going to miss $10,000.
They're not going to miss $10 million. So like, who cares with that? But this was not that. This was a company that was under like 50 million in moved money, not just profit, but moved money a year.
Right.
So when someone like me wouldn't show up for an unannounced, unknown reason, or even a known reason, if the fleet manager is not there to direct freight, appointments, tell drivers when to be where, a lot goes wrong. A lot of really expensive things happen really quickly, which is one reason why something like that could cause a buildup of stress really quickly, which it does. Deeply stressful job. But maybe that's why I had the immediate gut reaction of saying, no, there shouldn't be mental health days, because some jobs that just wouldn't work out with.
And isn't it ironic that the jobs that it wouldn't work out for are the ones that probably need it the most?
Unfortunately, yeah, probably.
Yeah. I don't have a solution for that.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I don't know if there's any way around that.
What I would love to tell you right now is I'd love to say, well, a job should accommodate for that. Ideally, they should have staffing to be able to meet that need.
I mean, in a perfect world, yeah.
In a perfect world, we wouldn't have stressful jobs.
Right, yeah. And especially with a company that is, I mean, in the world of small businesses, this was not that small, but it was small enough to where if you make a really expensive mistake, that company's going to see it in their profits at the end of the year. So like,
yeah, that's
it's
tough.
not just like, shoot, we used to both work at Dick's Sporting Goods. If that entire store just blew up, the company of Dick's Sporting Goods wouldn't even see that on a quarterly report.
Yeah.
That's how insignificant something like that is. That's not the
Right.
case with a job like what I was at. So like,
Right.
yeah. So at the points system, I think that's a great system when is implemented at a job that can allow for something like that.
Can handle people being gone.
Right.
Maybe not at peak efficiency, but can handle it.
Right. Which, like you mentioned, sucks because sometimes the jobs that probably need more time off also need you to be there the most
Yeah.
and suffer the most when you aren't.
Yeah, because you can't even make the argument, because I know a lot of people say like, oh, I need a day off. People are like, oh, that's why you got PTO. PTO has to be scheduled in advance.
Yeah, no. PTO is not a emergency situation use case. Maybe
Yeah.
sick days. If your job offers that, which a lot don't, but maybe sick days
Yeah.
is something like that.
Yeah. I think I hold firm at ideally if you're going to have sick days or whatever, if it could just be generalized acceptable unapproved unpaid time off at a certain amount, I think will always be probably the ideal solution. Because why should I have to why should I have to prove to my job that I'm actually sick? That's how I think. You know, if
Because I would say probably at least entry level jobs, I would say more often than not, it's abused.
sure,
That's why I would say you have to, because other people ruin it.
right, which is why I'm saying that just get rid of that system altogether. Right, with the point system, not to harp on that too much, but the way it was you had your 30 points or whatever, exceed it, and you're instantly terminated. If you want time off, you can take it. Just make sure you don't go over in a 6-month period.
Right.
You know, so it's you don't have to call your boss and go, I'm sick, and then you gotta like hope they believe you or whatever, and then they go, well, you better go to the doctor and pay the deductibles to go to the doctor so you can get a little note that says you're sick. Like, it's all that I just don't think is conducive to.
And yeah, sometimes going to the doctor simply is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like, you can be sick for a day and know that you're just going to be, yeah, I'm probably going to be fine tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to go to the doctor for something like this. Like, that happens all the time. I would say the majority of times being sick is you're probably going to be fine tomorrow and there's no reason to go to the doctor.
Yeah. So instead, if you're at a job where they have to have a doctor's note, Jesus Christ.
Doctor's note.
I was like, what the fuck do they call those things? It's the note you get at the doctor's office. If you don't have a doctor's note, then they don't think it's real, and they just assume it's not real. It's like, bro, like, I'm not spending my day that I need to be recovering sitting in a waiting room to go see a guy for 5 minutes. So he goes, yep, you're sick. Take whatever you probably were going to take anyway.
Yeah. That's stupid. Yeah. I think the idea of jobs needing doctor's notes in general is kind of stupid, because they don't actually care about the doctor's note. They only want it so that it's proof of you not lying. That's the only reason they want it.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. We've got a guy at work that does that now. He'll just take off work, and he does have like these illnesses and stuff or whatever, but like he always says, he's like, well, I had a doctor's note for that day. I'm like, bro, it is the easiest thing in the world to get a doctor's note. Like, that doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, so long as you show up at a doctor's office for 5 seconds, you'll get one. Like,
Yeah.
Like, that's not a thing anymore. But what it is it's a waste of time if you were just mildly sick and you want to stay in bed and recover. But no, you got to get your pants on and go down to the clinic and wait in that room. And I know for a fact that those waiting rooms can take a while. So you're in there sniffling and coughing all everybody else. when you could have just sitting at home and taken your, what do they take? NyQuil, Dayquil.
NyQuil, Dayquil, aspirin, acetaminophen. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be getting right up and at them. So ideal world, ideally, I'd love to see a system in place where it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be physically sick. You can just be, for whatever reason, unable to come in. And you have a system in place that allows you to do so. And that system has built into it a means to deter abuse. But not all jobs can do that.
Which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. If you work at a job that your ability to be there is necessary, then I guess that would be tough, wouldn't it?
It's also at those jobs where those are usually the jobs where there isn't something like a sick day or anything that gives you permission to not be there without notice, or at least any reasonable amount of time notice.
Well, goodness, it's like with my girlfriend. She's a nurse, and when we were talking about where we want to move to, not even like to buy a home, but just like where we were going to rent this last time around, it was very much like, I need to find somewhere that in the event of a bad winter or like weather episode that we can get out, because I have to be at work. It does not matter if my entire house is under snow. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, I have to be at work. It's like shit like that.
Yeah, which is stressful.
Yeah. Bro, if my house was under snow, I'd be calling them being like, you're not going to see me for a while. I got to dig this house out. Tell you what.
Yeah. There was one time at this job where my car did not start.
Yeah.
And to get me there as soon as possible, he had someone from there quickly drive over to my house and pick me up and take me there.
Yeah.
Get me there first, figure out plans of transportation later, type of deal. So,
yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
So, yeah, I think in regards to just straight up a mental health day, maybe not, but some sort of no approval necessary, no advance notice needed necessary system. Yes.
Yeah.
But also that how in a lot of jobs. So like,
right. You can't have the neurosurgeon just being like, nah, I think I'm gonna piece this one out, guys.
Yeah, mental health day. Sorry, bud. He's gonna die because his brain's gonna explode.
Right.
Because my brain hurts.
You know what? You know, to bring us back to a real depressing note, it just reminds you that we just don't live in that ideal world we want to live in.
No, we don't.
You
the
know?
world is rough. Did you know that these 12-hour surgery sessions, sometimes doctors are awake for 14, 16, 20 hours at a time.
Right.
And after about 20 to 24 hours of wakefulness, you are impaired to the point of equivalence of legally drunk.
Yeah.
And doctors are working under damn near that level.
Yeah.
For a surgery. I'm not saying, you said it before. Sometimes the jobs that need these mental health days the most are the ones that just can't have it because it won't work.
And the only way they could,
cow.
the only way they could have it is if they expressly hired more people because of that purpose.
Which wouldn't be sustainable.
Not necessarily. I mean, there are occupations that I'm sure could spare that kind of cash, but.
Well, okay, yeah, it could be sustainable, but in some instances,
some businesses, yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, if I ever need surgery for anything even remotely important, which if I'm getting surgery, I'm sure it will be at least a little bit remotely important.
I'm sure. Fair assumption, I think.
should I ask my doctor? Hey, bud, how'd you sleep last night? Did
It's
you
like
get
we're
good
about
sleep?
to. It's like you're about to go under and be like, "Hey, you need to take a nap. Just do it.
Yeah.
Take a nap.
How long have you been awake? If you've been awake longer than 4 hours, go take a nap, bud.
Yeah, go take a nap. I'll wait."
I will wait. Yeah, I don't want you to mess up this surgery.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a reason why they carry insurance for medical malpractice. Just like that, you push your staff to a breaking point, and then you're like, "What happened? Why'd you fuck that up?"
right.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Isn't
well,
that crazy? Man, not to harp on employers, but like, isn't it just wild how seemingly little empathy some employers have for the employees?
I mean, why would they? You are a means to an end. You
Right.
are
You are here because you're paid to be.
yeah.
Therefore, since you're being paid to be, all other things that make you a human being are void.
Yeah. No, you are a vessel that happens to produce more income than what you are paid. You know what's hilarious? I talk about my job somewhat frequently. I shouldn't. But this is funny. So we were talking about profitability in general. This is a generalized discussion about our companies and our locations' profitability. And we were talking about staffing and how that relates to our overall profitability. And he just off the cuff says this. He says, "Yeah, your guys' wages don't account much as far as profitability goes." That's what he said. He was basically just said, "You guys don't make enough to really make an impact on this." I was like, "Oh, that's great to hear."
Wow.
I was like, "Wow."
Your wages are not enough to make a profitability.
Because we were making the argument that we don't need more staff. And he was just like, "No, we need more staff." I was like, "No, we don't need more staff. We need more people. We need better advertising." And that's what he said. That he was just like, "Nah, hiring another person.
By more people, you mean more customers.
Yeah, more people coming through the door. So, aka better advertising to get those people in." And we were making that argument that it's an advertising issue, not a staffing issue, because we can handle the floor fine. And that's what he said. That he was just like, "Oh, well, if we hire one more person, your wages don't really amount to much as far as the overall profitability goes. So it's all good." I was like, "Damn, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy."
You're not making enough. You're not making enough for it to make a difference to the store's profitability. Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that crazy? It just goes to show you that, you work for a company and they really just don't care.
And like when we were at Dick's Sporting Goods, you and I could have been making the entire store. Like I say this over and over again. That entire store could have blown up and it wouldn't even show on a quarterly report. It would have made so little of a difference. Everyone at that store could have been making 6 figures a year, would be unnoticeable to the earnings report of Dick's Sporting Goods as a whole and all their companies like Golf Galaxy and Public Lands and all these other subsidiaries under the name of Dick's Sporting Goods that all make hundreds of millions of dollars.
And then I go in and I ask for a raise.
And then you have to fight tooth and nail to get a raise.
I mean, you know what happened when I asked for a raise? I went in there because I was, manning the department.
Better than everybody else? Yeah.
Yeah, and I went in there and I was just like, "Hey, maybe a raise?" And he was just like, "I might give you a quarter."
Maybe.
He even said that. He said, "I might give you a quarter. I'm going to have to get approval for that."
Oh my God.
That's what he said.
So stupid. So stupid.
But, that's not relatable to a lot of... Well, actually, no. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
I would say that's a relatable thing.
People might not be able to relate to working at Dick's Sporting Goods, but they can relate to bosses not respecting them or their time or their money.
Yeah. As if, bosses that are higher than you, but not so high, it's like out of reach. Like they're never, like it's not C-suite level.
Yeah, we're talking like Yeah, we're talking like first and second level management right here.
Right. And they have so far drank the Kool-Aid. They have drank it so deep that it's just become part of their bloodstream.
Yeah.
But like they're not at a high enough level to where the company actually gives a single shit about them, but they act like the company does care about them. Like,
yeah.
What's going on here? Like, what's the thought process here?
Yeah. It's like they start pulling like low six figures and they're like, I'm hot shit now. Lo and behold, though, a couple steps above them, they're making $500,000.
Right. Yeah.
Easy. Like easy. If and above that, it's way more.
And then you get into the C-suite where they're making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So like and they think because that they've got like a manager title or like a store director title or general manager, whatever the highest title of the building is, that they think that they're something. And then if they asked like 2 levels above them, the person, they would be like, oh, who are you?
Yeah.
As if the company cares about them at all, but they bootlick.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people that are like that, and I just don't understand it one bit.
I mean, it's kind of the whole philosophy of shit runs downhill. I mean, that's kind of the, like you think you're this big stuff, but really you're just receiving the next guy's shit. And then you get down to the bottom level, which is primarily where you and I have been for at least the most part of our journeys. And it's just like at that point, you don't even know what's going on. You're just regurgitated bullshit at that point.
Right.
It's rough. It's a rough place to be.
Yeah.
That's a fun.
The employment world is a nasty place, and yeah, never get a job, kids.
Or if you do get a job and you find a boss that cares about you, this is the happy takeaway. People say, like, a lot of employers think since you signed up for a job, you should be loyal. That's not true. But if you find a job that treats you well and is willing to pay you well and respect you and your time and your money,
oh my God, dude.
You might want to lock that down.
Yeah, there was a company, I think it was a payment services company. The base rate was $70,000 a year.
That's insane.
The base pay rate. And the CEO was making $70,000 a year. And all his employees were making $70,000 a year. And you know what? Everybody was very happy, including the CEO.
Yeah.
And they literally, when the company was like struggling, all the employees took voluntary pay cuts while the company was struggling. And then once the company came back, the CEO back paid all of them with no obligation to. Like, that's a company culture that works well because your employee, it's wild how many good things can happen when your employees are treated like humans and paid as such. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I've said this forever. Like, I don't know. If I ever owned a company, which everybody's had that dream before, but if I ever did, I would love to put something in place. There should be a fixed like percentage above your base, your like lowest denominator in your company. There should be a fixed amount over that your top employee should be making. Instead of having like some person makes, $30K a year and then the top end makes 30 million. Yeah. That number should be way closer together.
The CEO to like lower level associate discrepancy, the delta of earnings between them has only just been getting wider and wider and wider and wider and wider as time goes on. CEOs are only making obviously incomprehensible amounts of money more, and base level has certainly not gone up that much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know what that number would be. I'm just throwing shit out there, but I just would love to see more companies do that where, like, listen, if you're the CEO and let's say you have a fixed percentage over your lowest denominator, their salary, your CEO salary can only be that percentage higher. If you want to get yourself a raise,
Give everybody a raise.
give everybody a raise.
Because if you can give yourself a raise, that means the company's doing well, which means you should pay the people who are contributing to it doing well.
Right.
That seems simple to me. And I get not every company has the kind of cash flow to pay everybody like the same as yourself.
Yeah.
So like maybe especially with small businesses that might not be the case. But I mean, this payment services company, I think it had like less than 50 employees or less than 100 employees or something like that, and everybody was making 70,000 a year because the CEO wasn't a greedy bastard.
You know, and you know what the problem is? The problem is that people continue to take these jobs for low pay because they don't have any other choice.
Yeah, it's not being fixed. This is one of the things, not to get political, but like Bernie Sanders.
Not to get political, but Mr. Sanders.
Yeah, not to get political, but Bernie Sanders. And I don't agree with all the things he says, and I don't disagree with all the things he says either. But just one of the things he has said was he kind of harps on about this topic is the pay delta between CEOs and base level, or CEOs and even just a couple levels down, where it in like a C-suite person, just like 3 positions down from them, like if it's a corporate company, like maybe they're just like a regional manager and they manage like 100 stores or something. The pay delta between just like 3 positions can be literal hundreds of millions of dollars, which is bonkers.
Right.
And I know Bernie Sanders harps on about that a lot. So he was one of the guys that wanted to try and nip that in the bud to some degree. I'm not really sure how or what his plan was, but
all I know is
that was a stance he took.
All I know is he's a democratic socialist. That's all I know. Because that's what he said. Because he will go, "You're a socialist." I'm a democratic socialist. Democratic socialist. That's all I know.
I don't even know what party. Is he an independent?
I thought he was just a Democrat, but I don't know.
I thought he took jabs at some Democrats.
Probably.
I know he doesn't like Trump. But that's about all I know.
Unaffiliated.
Okay, so he's an independent.
Okay, so he's what? Yeah, he's the longest serving independent in U.S. congressional history, but maintains a close relationship with the Democratic Party.
Okay, so he's like center left.
God, he's old.
Dude, everybody in politics is old.
In 83.
He's 83. I mean, shoot, Donald Trump's like 82.
Isn't that
Joe
right?
Biden's like 84.
How old is Donald Trump? I actually don't know. Not to get political.
We're gonna get political about some presidential candidates' ages.
Oh no, Donald Trump's only 78.
Oh, only 78. Okay. And what's Joe Biden's age?
Mr. Biden? Yeah.
What's Biden? What's vibing? How's
Yeah,
Joe?
what's
How's Biden vibing? How's Biden vibing?
What's
that was hard
Biden?
to get out. I think he's like 82, 3, 4?
80, he's 82.
82.
Yeah.
So him and Trump almost the same age. Him, Trump and Bernie ought to just go and have a couple drinks.
Play some golf, yeah.
Go out and play some golf. Trump does
They
that
did
all
they
the
did
damn
they
time.
did argue. Did you ever see that clip of Trump and Biden arguing about golf on stage?
Yeah, during the presidential debate. Yeah.
Dude, it was fucking hilarious.
Where they started bickering about their handicaps. Dude, that's what I tune into presidential debates to find out. Yeah, that was so funny.
Dude, that's
That was
hilarious.
that was historic.
Not to get political, but that was hilarious.
Not to be political, but that was absolutely hilarious. I don't care if you're a Trump or Biden supporter. There ain't no way you don't find that absolutely hilarious from any point of view. Hilarious in its ridiculousness.
Yeah. Hilarious in its out of placeness.
Yeah.
What should be out of place. Anyhow.
Yeah. Well, let's end it on that note. It's honestly actually late at night, and this one's been going on for a while.
Yeah,
and it's getting harder to string a sentence
with all
as we go.
With all the doom and gloom of jobs, we found a good note to end on with the golf talk at the presidential debate.
Presidential debate. Yeah. So, thank you all so much for watching and or listening. Next week you're gonna see some Christmas stuff.
Yes, you are.
It's gonna be about that time.
It's gonna be Christmas.
I would say what we're doing, but I don't know.
We're gonna figure that out, and you're gonna figure that out next time on the show.
See you then.